Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Creation Station. This time we're going into the nitty gritty of scale material. This is a subject that I'm just working on with a student of mine, and I saw some video material he sent me, and I realized I have to be a little bit more specific. So I'm tipping my hat to my student Alan, but I'm also wanted to share it with all of you. This is the scale mapping, a technique that was recommended for me to do by my coach Terry Trotter, and I will always be thankful for him to make this logical and concise approach to scales and which scales to play over which chords. Now you see on the screen up here that there's a bunch of scale choices I made, and you might ask yourself, why are you choosing C Lydian over C major 7? Well, let me show you real quick what a normal C scale sounds over C major 7, which is kind of a little bland. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is all nice and consonant, but there's no tension notes in it whatsoever. And C major 7 lends itself beautifully to the Lydian scale. Listen to this. So you can see the choices I made in terms of the scales always contain a good bit of tension notes. That's why the voicings will have to follow suit in the left hand. So if I get a new song, and just recently my student brought an Afternoon in Paris, which I hadn't played through yet, and so I do what I always do. Let me demonstrate it to you. It's, by the way, always a good idea to keep the voicings in the left hand really simple. Just sometimes the 7th and the 3rd is enough. Okay, so here's how I would probably play through it, and look at the chart. All right, here we go, C major 7, and here we go. And you notice I'm always doing 2 octaves, because when you do 2 octaves, you realize where your fingering problems for the scales are. So it's really, really essential to get the fingering right. Next chord, and now take time, plenty of time for each chord to really map out the territory through which I'm going to improvise. The scale topography, or the landscape that you can play through with these quickly changing chords and standards, are extremely important to have mapped out and under your fingers. So this is what this exercise is about. Let's move to the next chord, F7. I have a G-flat melodic minor scale. I'm going to take a very simple voicing. Now listen to the sound of this. Here, just in context, here's the F in the bass. Little oopla there. You can see there's a lot of tension notes in it, and that's what I love. That's why I chose these scales. I'm offering them up to map this out before you start working on this song. So B flat, let's move to B flat. Here's the B flat Lydian scale. B flat minor. Now comes an interesting one, the E flat 7 halftone whole tone scale. The secret of these tension notes, by the way, gets revealed when you see how this resolves to the next chord. The first thing I would do is get each chord, take time on each chord, and get the scales with proper fingering under your fingers. Just get some control over those. And then slowly begin to connect those to the next chord. Maybe just two chords. Like in the beginning, up here at the C Lydian, you could connect the C Lydian to the C minor and maybe to the G flat melodic minor over here. So C to C minor 7 to F7 are the chords. So just to give you an idea, once you have this a little bit under your fingers, you could then try this. So this scale material contains enough out-sounding things that it makes it interesting to improvise over. That's why I chose these scales. And here, there's not much more adventurous stuff going on for the entire rest of the song. There's only one thing I wanted to point out to you, and that is one of the concepts to look at shifted scales that Terry was introducing me to, and it was really easy to understand. For example, let's take a look at the G7 over here, and there's an A flat melodic minor scale. And he said to me, just get your melodic minor scale under your fingers in all keys. Make sure that they can just, you can play those spontaneously anywhere. So let's take a look at how this again sounds. Here's our G. See, it builds up so much tension inside of that scale, that A flat melodic scale. So it's basically a concept called melodic minor a half step up. And you can do that on any seventh chord. Look here at the A7, same thing. In a melodic minor, a half step up. That's a really, really important concept. There's other ways to describe this mathematically or from the standpoint of music theory, but to me, this is just what I got used to working with, and it just makes a lot of sense. One of the interesting things is, once you have those scales under your fingers to a certain degree, you can begin to just pick certain notes. You don't have to play the entire scale. Now it's time to get some extracts from the scales. For example, in A flat melodic minor scale over G7, there's a couple of really cool, interesting extracts you can filter out, such as and that's harmonically nice and rich sounding, right? And it's, again, take a look, it's the extract from this scale. So that is the first aspect of this whole thing. Mapping out the song. Just go through the entire song without any tempo. Before you ever use Band in a Box, I would say just spend some nice time, just take a half hour or something like that, map through the entire song, play through the scales, make a few connections between 2, 3, maybe, even more chords as you feel comfortable. And then slowly but surely, extract certain melodies from these scales. And then this song will gradually open itself up to you more and more. That is the scale mapping technique I wanted to tell you about today. And just lastly, there's one other chapter. Voicings are very, very much also derived from scale material. For example, if I go to the G7 over here, I can add voicing notes to that voicing in the left hand. Let's take a look what's available. You can see that this voicing is a very beautiful match to the A-flat melodic minor scale. And that is because, obviously, I chose notes that also come from the A-flat melodic minor scale. All these 4 notes are part of the A-flat melodic minor scale. Once again. Notice how I stole some Lydian material there, the F sharp inside of the C major 7. I just love the tension that it brings and melodiousness. So that is it for today. I hope this was useful to you. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give the video a like if this was useful for you. I bet you if you just spend some time with the songs without turning Band in the Box on and forcing yourself to have these tiny little fragments of time for each chord, but rather really just swim around in each chord and explore these scales, it's going to open up everything in improvisation for you. It's going to make your voicings better, and it's going to give you a lot of scale material and knowledge in the right hand to float over these and get into these voicings. That's it. Once again, give the video a like. If you found it useful, comment and see what you would like to see next in terms of this treatment of jazz standards and any standards for that matter. It works for Latin music, pop music as well. It doesn't really matter at all. Okay, so that is all for today. This is Stephan Oberhoff signing out from the Creation Station East near Nashville, Tennessee. And look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace and stay creative and stay with it.